We also want to make sure that we have the flexibility and the ability needed to respond to events in our state in the most effective way possible. And some of that will require us to be able to have access and be able to use support in ways that are not encumbered by the federal government or don't require federal government. So I'm going to be recommending in the budget $3.5 million to reestablish the Florida State Guard. The Florida State Guard will act as a civilian volunteer force that will have the ability to assist the National Guard in state-specific emergencies. This funding will support the necessary training, equipment, and other support functions for up to 200 members who can aid in the response to hurricanes, natural disasters, and other state emergencies. We want to be able to have a quick response capability, and reestablishing the Florida State Guard will allow civilians from all over the state to be trained in the best emergency response techniques and have the ability to mobilize very, very quickly. And this is something that many other states have utilized, and I think Florida is in the minority of states that has allowed this to go defunct. So we're happy to be able to bring that back.
What is good, Osiris? Here stuck in the middle, and Ron DeSantis has a way with words, doesn't he? This state guard, as they're calling it, he said it would assist the National Guard. Doesn't that sound good?
Florida State Guard will act as a civilian volunteer force that will have the ability to assist the National Guard.
This guy DeSantis is a beast. He said he's in the minority of states that allowed this to go debunk. He's talking about after World War II.
And this is something that many other states have utilized, and I think Florida is in the minority of states that has allowed this to go defunct. So we're happy to be able to bring that back.
But the key part of that was a lack of trust with the federal government.
And be able to use support in ways that are not encumbered by the federal government or don't require federal government.
When you talk about factor, I'm going to get into the story in a second, but when you talk about presence and it factor, this guy, Ron DeSantis, has command of the issue, whether it's the pandemic or it's censorship, or right now with the state guard, you could call it a militia almost. All these different issues, he has full command, focuses on the important things, lets the other stuff go away. He's an executive, a CEO. I keep qualifying my praise of this guy, saying, I think he's still an establishment dude. I don't fully 100% trust him, but at some point, his actions speak louder than my concerns that I have nothing tangible to be concerned about at this point. Wow. If you could guarantee me a DeSantis-type governor in Florida for the rest of my life, I would talk to my wife and do everything possible to convince her to move there right now. That's how solid he is. But I'm going to talk about this story. It is a serious escalation. I think people on the left and the right are positioning this wrong. I'm going to make my case why. Let me lay out what happened. Ron DeSantis plans to create a state guard for Florida.
Budget $3.5 million to reestablish the Florida State Guard.
This has concerned people on the left who call the move fascist. They don't know they're trying to change the definition of what fascist is to anything that they don't like that's basically coming from the right or non-establishment. It has no meaning to them as far as like when government and private industry merge together. According to this plan, DeSantis would control the civilian military force to assist state-specific emergencies. So it would make them capable of assisting in the event of a hurricane. Sounds great. Natural disasters. Sounds great. But other state emergencies also. So whatever the hell they need.
And other state emergencies.
Because the governor decides what's an emergency. So this is an escalation. Florida did have its own state guard during World War II, and it was disbanded. Ron DeSantis, you heard him say, hey, we were one of the minority of states that didn't have this state guard. So he's trying to say, hey, it's not something unusual. Let me tell you, if I live in a neighborhood of 50 people and 25 of the people have their own private security, and I don't have my own private security, and then one day I say, I'm going to get my own private security team just like everybody else does, it's not unprecedented, it's not fascist, but it is something to look at. And if I get it because I say I don't trust the entity above us, it is an escalation, period. This interaction between Joy Ann Reid and our good friend Sarah Silverman, summed it up perfectly for where people were at. So Joy Ann Reid, even though they're both leftists, Joy Ann Reid said, y'all know this is fascisty bananas, right? Miss Reid, well, it's not fascist, but it is an escalation. So if she would have said, y'all know this is an escalation, right? I would have been like, you got it right. Fascist is the wrong term here, though. But Sarah Silverman said, please read the article before you post this stuff. You're a news outlet. The truth has to matter. I think they're both off because Sarah didn't even say what the truth was. Let me end with this. Leftists in power spent the whole pandemic attacking DeSantis for incorrectly, for a man who was fighting through the pandemic to bring his state as healthy as possible through the pandemic without compromising the liberty of his citizens. He didn't put people in nursing homes and allegedly get them sick and kill them like Cuomo did. He was fighting for their liberties. He still promoted all the treatments, including the V, but he said your liberties have to stay intact. And here's my recommendation. Just handled everything perfectly, and right now they have some of the lowest cases in the country. There's a bunch of factors into why that might be. But the leftists in power spent the whole pandemic attacking him. And now they're appalled when Florida doesn't trust the federal government? And on the right, why are you downplaying this? Own it. Be happy about it. Give Ron DeSantis credit. He might be the only Republican worth a damn right now. The government has been playing games with serious issues. Serious issues like critical theory, a journalistically corrupt media, censorship, the pandemic. They're alienating states that don't agree with the establishment. Threatening to fire citizens from their jobs. SCOTUS not taking up the case after the election. These things don't happen like in a vacuum. People are playing political games with these things. These things are life or death. There are serious consequences to our union playing games like that. Remember when the federal government withheld treatment for the pandemic that we have, withheld the treatment from Florida, literally playing with life or death. Open borders, flying people over, in my opinion, unconstitutionally, illegally, all throughout the country, including Florida. Not only open borders, flying people in without the state's consent. You think that stuff's gonna happen in a vacuum without any? States have powers, you guys. For people who don't realize that, the states have power. Here's what I'm going to end with. This is a serious escalation. It's very, 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 very serious. I think we should take this very, 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 very seriously. The state guard that he's creating, or the state militia, there's a lot of people in Florida that would be behind that, even if they're not officially in the state militia. This is serious stuff. We need to stop playing political games with life or death. Okay, you guys want to keep doing that? That's fine. Are we going to prioritize a peaceful divorce to this civil conflict or not? We have to work for peace. We have to advocate for peace. We have to demand a peaceful divorce from our politicians. Because the path we're on right now, that's not where we're going. It's up to us where we head from here. I'm just wondering what do we call Florida when, this is obviously getting to the point where Florida might have to be called the new Republic of Florida. I think Tim Pool and Luke Rudowski stole this one already. They already created this one, but Freedomistan. Is it going to be DeSantistan? It's going to be its own country. That's the path we're going on right now. Let me know what you think. Take care.